Okay, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to take a look at a record for me that really was important in my early guitar playing. The album is by a band called Alcatrazz. The album is No Parole from Rock and Roll. Now, this came out in 1983. I had just bought an electric guitar and an amp. My first guitar was an Aria Pro 2 ZZ Deluxe with a maple neck and maple fingerboard. It basically looked like a Gibson Explorer, and I had a PV Bandit 65. October, when this record comes out, I hear Yngwie Malmsteen for the first time. Now, Yngwie since then has put out 100 records, solo albums, everything else, and people are plenty sick of him by now. But in 1983, when this album came out, the songs are great. The album is great. His playing is phenomenal. It's the best playing of his career, in my opinion. And I think all the stars lined up for this album because even Graham Bonnet, who I'm not a big fan of, I love everything he does on this record. Let's take a look at it song by song. The opening track, track number 1, is a song called Island in the Sun. This song had a video for it. And let me tell you, did I feel vindicated having my Aria Pro 2 ZZ Deluxe when Yngwie in the video was playing an Aria Pro 2 XX Deluxe, the Flying V version. I was like, if it's good enough for that guy, I made a good purchase. The video is cheesy. It had the girl singers in the background. Overall, the song was a pop song with some monster guitar playing on it. The rest of the band on it is actually very good too. I shouldn't just say Yngwie was great. The band was great. And Island in the Sun is definitely the pop song on the album. Song 2, General Hospital. General Hospital is one of my favorite songs on the album because it has so many different grooves to that open chugging E thing, to the F sharp minor part in it. It also, when it comes to the solo section, is very, very Deep Purple and Rainbow sounding. He sounds like Blackmore. He sounds like, to me, if Ritchie Blackmore were good. Now, all you people out there, Ritchie's great. Yeah, I like Ritchie's playing, like his rhythm playing. I never cared for any of Ritchie's leads. In fact, I dislike his leads. It's not that I don't think they're good. I find them offensive. Highway Star, Smoke on the Water. I hate the solos on those records. There's a couple of good ones he did in Rainbow. I thought by the time he was in Rainbow, he was a better player. But when you hear Yngwie on General Hospital, you're like, oh, that's what that can sound like. Phenomenal. Song 3 is Jet to Jet, and anybody who knows Yngwie or knows that sound, that carries on through him. That is classic Yngwie. Such a great song. High energy, high power. Graham Bonnet killing it. The band's killing it. Excellent. I love Jet to Jet. Song 4, Hiroshima Mon Amour. This song was transcribed in a magazine called Guitar for the Practicing Musician. And it was in one of the very first issues, if not the first issue. I'm trying to remember what the first issue was. And I was like, I could not believe that they had all this stuff all over the place, that he could play this fast and all that. And it wasn't until a few years later where I took a few lessons from Joe Stump in Boston that I realized that these transcriptions were not good. All over the place. When you watch Yngwie play it now and you can see how he's playing it, it's not nearly as all over the place as the transcriptions. But to the song Hiroshima Mon Amour, I love this song. I always thought it was a fantastic song. Another poppy song on the album, but could be the best song on the album. Although I think General Hospital is still my favorite. Song 5 is a guilty pleasure for me, a song called Kree Nakoorie. I think the song is hilarious for some reason. And at the same time, I love it. It's a great song. And it's Yngwie at his best. I remember I had a friend of mine who hated Yngwie, and this was later in high school. He was a lot younger than I am, and he was listening to Trilogy and Marching Out, and I said to him, get this Alcatrazz album, come back and tell me you don't like him. And he became an Yngwie fanatic, and Kree Nakoorie was his favorite. It's a great song. Song 6 is a song called Incubus. The beginning, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Bourrée by Jethro Tull. And then it goes into this heavy metal instrumental. It's about a minute and a half long, and it's cool, but it's nothing. Song 7, Too Young to Die, Too Drunk to Live. Honey, fetch me a drink, because it's been a long day. Lyrically, the song's hilarious, but it's a great song. Really great. Everything on this album, it's like, when you look at the lyrics and whatnot, it's kind of silly. Some of the songs are funny. It's a guilty pleasure record for me. I love this album, but the playing on it from everybody in the band is sensational. And Graham Bonnet's singing is great. And I'm not a Graham Bonnet fan, and he hits it out of the park. Song 8 on the album is a song called Bigfoot. What? His name is Daryl? Anyway, song 8 is a song called Bigfoot. Bigfoot is a haunting song. It's one of those types of melodies that I love. In fact, when I think of like Corrosion of Conformity, that song Echoes in a Well. It's like that same type of thing that I love. It's that haunting sound and a blistering solo from Yngwie. Just monstrous. Again, Gary Shea, Jimmy Waldo, Jan Uvina, however you pronounce his name on drums. Everyone on this album's killing it. Song 9 on this album is a song called Starcarr Lane. What sounds like it's going to be a typical rock and roll song from the build-up in the intro turns out to be your classic Alcatrazz, Graham Bonnet sound. Not my favorite song on the album, but a good song. Song 10 is a song called Suffer Me. And typical to most metal outfits, if you will, the last song is a ballad, real slow, acoustic guitar, the E minor 9 chord playing, or if he's half step down, E flat minor 9, whatever the hell it is. I can't recall if he's flat tuned on this album or not. I don't think he is. But either way, it's just that typical, it's generic. It gets into a heavy section where Yngwie's playing is once again showcased, and it's phenomenal. Otherwise, the record, it's just a great record to know. If you're a fan of shred guitar, it's a must-have album. To me, it is definitely in my top 10 albums of albums you must own if you're a guitar player. And that's all I have to say about this album. I love it. It's overlooked by many. I think Yngwie's overlooked, and I think he's judged poorly because a lot of the stuff he plays can just be a lot of filler stuff. This album, it's jam-packed. He was a young guy writing, and I think the band was on point. And I hope you dig it. I'm going to put a link in the description so you can check it out for yourself. After listening to it for a few times, comment, let me know what you thought. Very good.